Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is a my hair's wet and I don't give a crap video. Just kidding. But today is going to be a video swatching the two newest palettes I added to my collection. They are two of the Violet Voss mini palettes. I guess they call them fun size palettes. So I picked up both of these at Sephora. And one is the Macaron palette and the other is the Sweet Violet palette. I believe the Sweet Violet palette is newer, but I have not yet swatched any of these, so this will be kind of like my first impressions and first initial swatches of each of these palettes. So I'm going to start with this one. So it is an all shimmer palette, kind of like a shimmery rainbow palette. It's not like that out there though. There's quite a few neutral shades in here. So I'm just going to start at the top row, going left to right. I'm going to swatch the 5 top row and then the 5 on the bottom row. There's no shade names in these mini palettes, so I'm sure based on how it looks you'll be able to tell which is which, but let's just go right into it. So first is this kind of burgundy brown kind of color. Looks really pretty on my finger. Let's see how it swatches. Ooh, see, it's swatching really well. It's like got a lot of color payoff there. That looks really, really pretty. I'm just gonna grab a makeup wipe so I can clean my finger between swatches. I just wipe that off. So that's how that first color looks. Really pretty, really wearable color. And next there is kind of like looks to be like a pink, kind of a corally pink color. Ooh, looks very vibrant on my finger. Let's see how this one's gonna swatch. Ooh, again, very, very good swatch. The swatches don't tell you everything though. I mean, something can swatch really well and then perform not so good on, but that's what that one looks like, a bright kind of a pink. But I like this pink because it's more of like, when it comes to pinks, even though I'm more of a cool tone kind of girl, when it comes to pinks, I prefer them on the warm side. Like I prefer like a corally pink over like a hot pink that's kind of on the magenta side. I actually prefer something more on the red side, so kind of like that. That's perfect for me. So next is like a coppery orange kind of color. And that's how that looks. Beautiful. I'm not big into orange shadows, but this one has enough brown in it and coppery kind of tones to it that I feel like it won't read as like a bright orange the way a true orange would. Like for example, like the cheese dust shade in the Conspiracy palette, that's an orange, and that's the kind of thing I'm like less comfortable with. But this, I could totally see myself pulling that off, you know what I mean? A lot more wearable. Next is like a champagne yellowy beige, I want to say. Ooh, it looks gorgeous on like the finger. It's I wish the light wasn't ruining that. It almost looks white in the light here, but really in person it's got like definitely some gold like reflex to it. Very pretty color. Now I am pale, so that one's not going to show up quite as well on my skin tone, but I like it. I like it a lot. It's really pretty. In person it's really pretty. It's just so hard to see in this lighting, but because my skin just likes to bounce all of the light off because I'm so white, but oh well. Okay, so the last shade is like a brown. It's like a straight up brown, obviously shimmer. They're all shimmers in this palette, so it's a warm brown though. I would say like a golden kind of color brown. That's what it looks like on the finger, and this is what it looks like on my arm. Whoa, it's way darker than I expected there. Beautiful though, really beautiful. See, those colors look so great together too, like gorgeous. Okay, so that is the first row, and I'm going to swatch the other row on my other arm. So starting on the left side again, there's like a silvery pewter kind of color. Looks like that. I didn't get a very good swatch, but like I think it would have more. I didn't dig my finger in as much as I did with the other ones, so let me double that one up just to be fair. Ooh, I really like that. It's like a smoky kind of silvery color, but it's not too silver. Like it's not like full-blown metallic-y like foiled. I mean, it is, but you know what I'm saying. It's more of almost like a taupey gray. I like that. Next is like a dark green, like a forest green kind of shimmer. Okay. That's what that looks like. Ooh, in person it's a little bit different like than it looks on camera. On camera it just looks dark, but like there's actually quite a bit of green to it. But it is a dark shade, like it's a very dark green. It's probably one of the darkest greens in my shimmery green collection. Not that I have a ton of them, but it's pretty dark, but I like that. It'll be like nice for a smoky kind of look. Next is the turquoise blue color. Looks very vibrant on my finger. Let's see how that swatches. Very vibrant. Yes, I am not surprised. As much as I love this color, like just for this, like as a color, I'm not sure how or when I'm going to implement that into my makeup looks because it is just so bright. If you're into like brights, you'll probably love that shade, but it's bright and it's blue, and I'm really not into like that much blue on my eyes, but it's quite pretty though. It's quite pretty. And then there's a deep kind of violet-y purple color. I'm wondering if there's a dupe for that in the Sweet Violet. I'm looking at them side by side right now, and it doesn't look like there is, which is good because I don't really want to lose out on a shade by having a duplicate. But let's just swatch that right here. Pretty. That's very, very pretty. I like it because it's a cooler tone purple with some, if you look closely at it, you won't be able to see it on camera, but if you look closely at it in person, it's got like some pink and some blue reflex in it, which is really pretty. Yeah, I really can't wait to try that color actually. Like I'm really excited about it. Really pretty. And then the last one is like a rose gold kind of color. Ooh, it looks pretty on my finger. Looks really pretty on my finger. Yeah, let's swatch that guy. Ooh, pretty. I wonder if that's, no, it is very different. I thought it kind of looks like it goes with the other side a little bit more, but I guess, I don't know, like I probably would have, if I were to arrange this palette, I probably would have switched out that bottom shade for like maybe the pink or the orange on this arm, and I don't know, maybe not. They know what they're doing. I'm not a palette designer, I don't know. But anyway, that's what you're getting for the Macaron palette. Really, really pretty. And these, I want to see if I can show this on camera because you can see it in person, but not so much on camera, I think. But like the formula of these shimmers, if I can get it to focus, you might be able to know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the formula of these shimmers, as you can see, it looks very textured. Like they're very like metallic foiled kind of things, whereas this palette, the shimmers in this palette, with the exception of that one orangey pinkish one at the beginning, the other shimmers in here are a lot more finely milled, I would say. Like the particles are not as, they don't appear as like chunky, I guess. Like for example, like if you compare this purple on the end, which is a shimmer, to the second from the end on the other side of the row, right? This kind of peach color. If you compare those two, they're both shimmers, but you can tell they're like a different formula. One is like a lot more glittery metallic. I wouldn't, it's not a pressed glitter, I wouldn't call it that, but it's like more of a glittery metallic shimmer as opposed to like more of a finely milled kind of shimmer. So just keep that in mind, that this palette is a lot more like the peach shade in this one, like the more textured looking metallics, as opposed to like the other ones that are in this one. So just keep that in mind. So yeah, that's the Macaron palette. I'm just gonna wipe that off and then we will swatch the Sweet Violet palette. Actually, I might as well not make you guys watch this. I'll pause it and come back. Okay, I'm back. Cleaned off my arms. So let's get into the Sweet Violet palette. This one is not all shimmers like the other one was. It is sort of half and half mattes and shimmers. So again, I'm going to do top row, then bottom row. So I love the fact that this one has this first shade in it, which is this kind of, wow, I just dug my finger way too deep. It's all It's not actually powdery, I messed that up with my finger. I pressed a little too hard. I love that this has this kind of neutral base color. I mean, it's not going to show up really on my skin because I'm pale, but it's there. Trust me, it's there. And if you have skin that's even slightly darker than ghost white, it would probably show up for you. But I like the fact that it has that as like a setting kind of color for after you put your primer on, because I like to set my primer with like exactly that kind of a color, the one that almost totally matches my skin. And that's one kind of criticism I have of the other purple palette I picked up recently, the Juvia's Place one, because this one, as you can see, does not have any kind of like neutral base shade. So that's one thing I actually really appreciate that they put in this palette, even though it's a purple palette. Like, I think throwing in one or two, even two like kind of neutral colors is fine, as long as the majority of it is purple, if that's what you're going for. Okay, so the next color beside that is kind of a peach shimmer, a peachy pink kind of shimmer. Ooh, that's really pretty. That's really, really pretty. Metallic-y. Love it. Love it. So those are the only two like I guess, purples in the entire palette. So we shall get into the purples now. Still have some of the glittery stuff from the last one. I forgot to kind of clean my hand off. There we go. So third one in is kind of is it a duochrome? I guess not really a duochrome, but there is like bits of like blue reflex in it a little bit. It's not enough to make it a true duochrome where it's going to change color on you, but like it adds some interest for sure. And it's kind of a magenta pink. Very, very pretty, like a hot pink kind of color. For me personally, this isn't really my bag. Like, I'm not super into those kind of pinks. But you know what? I think the bottom row for me is going to be where it's at for my preferences. But if you like pinks, then you might like that. The next one is a matte magenta. So similar to the color I just swatched, except in matte form. At least that's how it looks in the pan. See how it performs. Yep, I was pretty much right. Almost exactly the same color, but a matte version. It's quite nice. I think it's pretty buildable. Let's see. Let's put a little more on top. I mean, you don't really need to build it up really that much because it's pretty pigmented, but if you wanted to really pack it on, yeah, so that's good. Nice matte formula. I like it so far. And the last one is like a traditional, you know, warm violet color. This one I could see myself using. The other ones are a bit too much on the pink side for me, but this one looks nice. Pretty, right? So let's swatch that one here. Ooh, very nice. Pretty. Yeah, I like that one because it's a little more on the blue side and not so much on the, like it's a bluey purple rather than super pink. All right, so that's the first row. Now we're gonna do the bottom row on this arm. So it starts with like a really pretty, I'm excited to see how this one works because I've been looking for a nice matte, almost pastel purple. It's a little darker than pastel. I wouldn't truly call it a pastel, but it's like a light lavender kind of color. Yes, I love that. That's exactly what I've been hoping to find. Like a really nice like pastel purple. And it looks like I can't wait to use it. I'm really excited about this color because I don't have one quite like that in my collection. Really, really pretty. Next is a purple shimmer right beside that one. Ooh, that color payoff and that looks so good. I put on a bit much, so there's some loose pieces there. Let me just wipe those off. Wow, you really don't need a lot. Like, oh, that looks so nice. And how does that look compared to the other purple? Let's try and put them side by side here. It's similar, but it's not quite the same. I don't know. Can't really get my camera to focus. Oh, there we go. So this one's a bit darker, the one on this one, compared to the one on this row is a little bit lighter. And a little bit pinker when I'm looking at it in person. So that's beautiful. Next is like the most cool toned purple shimmer in the palette. There's also a cool toned purple matte that will be coming up at the end, but this is the shimmer, the cool toned shimmer purple, which I'm really excited about as well because I love a cool toned purple. Looks amazing. It's lighter than I thought. Wow, that's interesting. It looked really dark on my finger. Then when I swatched it, like it's more of like a buildable shimmer formula. It's not quite a like one swipe and you're done kind of deal. And it is more like almost satiny, like not quite as metallic as like the previous shade. But I love the actual color of it, like that kind of indigo purple kind of color. I love that. So next is, the last two are mattes. The first one is kind of a true violet shade. And works really well. Good matte formula. I really like the matte formula in here, at least so far. And the last one is another one I'm really excited about, which is the cool toned, almost blue purple matte. So let's see. Yeah, I really like that. It's really pretty. It reminds me of the shade in Juvia's Place, like the deep matte shade right there is kind of similar. But this one I think is a little more periwinkle almost. So yeah, so this is both sides of the violets. Of course, the second row, this one here, is more violet, I guess you could say. This one's more pinks, but I'm really pleased with it. I think it's going to be a great addition to my collection. I'm just going to wipe the rest of this off and then give you guys my final thoughts. So bear with me for 1 second. Okay, so final thoughts kind of after doing the initial swatching of these palettes. I'm really happy with how they swatch. We'll see how they perform on the eyes. Sometimes swatches aren't exactly a good comparison to how they're going to perform on the eyes, so we'll see. I have not tried them on the eyes yet, but so far I'm liking the matte formula, which is sometimes a little trickier. I'm liking the different kind of shimmer formulas. There's clearly a few different types. Of shimmers in here. Some are a little more satiny and buildable, and some of them are truly more like a foiled metallic. So I like that. Like the color story in both. Yeah, I really enjoy these. A couple things I want to mention aside from like the shadow quality, like the formulas and things like that, is just a little bit about the actual, like the rest of the product, the packaging and all that stuff. So I think the packaging is great. I think super cute. It's like the cardboard style, like magnetic type palettes, which I really enjoy. My all-time favorite kind of packaging is a tin type packaging, like the Too Faced chocolate bars or like the Bombs little tin packaging. I don't know why, I just love, they're like my favorite type of eyeshadow packaging. I just think they're so cute, they're durable. But as far as the cardboard packaging goes, I think that's totally fine too. Like, it's not the worst thing ever. It's better than like a plastic, I think. I love that they're tiny, and just to give you an idea of scale, because I did look these up online, and it is really hard to tell quite how big they are, because it's hard to tell scale sometimes in photographs on like Sephora's website and stuff like that. So let me just give you an example. So this is another mini palette from Juvia's Place. So they are pretty similar in size. In fact, this one's even a little bit smaller because it's thinner. It might be a little bit wider. Actually, no, they're almost, yeah, it's a touch wider, but it's almost exactly the same size, just a little shorter, like not as square. But how does that compare to like a palette that everyone's gonna know the size of? I'll grab, like, this is a Too Faced chocolate bar palette, so everyone kind of knows roughly the size of these guys. So to compare those, that's how much smaller it is. So it is a mini palette. Online it tends to look a little bigger than it is. So I don't want anyone to order it and be disappointed thinking it's like a full-size palette. It is a mini palette, but for me personally, I like mini palettes because I like to have a wide variety of options in my collection, but I don't necessarily need a huge pan size, because you know how long it takes to go through, for example, a pan like in the Conspiracy palette. These pans are huge. It's going to take me so long to get through all of these. Like, this is like way more product than I'm ever gonna need. I just like to have like just a little bit of each, so that I can kind of really use it up. So just to compare, let me put the two next to each other just to show you the difference in pan size. So Conspiracy palette versus one of the mini palettes, right? So yeah, a lot smaller pan size but like really a lot smaller pan size. But I like that personally. If that's not your thing, if you're into like the really big pans and you go through a lot of eyeshadow, maybe consider that before purchasing one of these mini palettes. But for me, I think mini palettes are the best idea ever because it's more affordable. Like not a lot of people have like whatever this cost. I think it was like $58 or something like that. Like not a lot of people have $58 to drop on a massive palette like this, and a lot of people just would rather have something a little bit smaller but still good quality. Like, and until recently, I feel like the only options for those people were like drugstore brands because that's the only thing that had like the smaller eyeshadow palettes. So I really like that these like more higher, like not high-end, but like mid-range brands are coming, and even high-end, like Natasha Denona has been doing this recently, coming out with like smaller mini versions so that the people that can't afford a full-size palette can still have the experience of using a good quality shadow. So that's why I really like the mini palette idea. I have a lot of mini palettes in my collection and I really enjoy them. I like having something small. It's easy to travel with. Not that I really travel, but if you do, it stores a lot easier than something really bulky. So I really enjoy the packaging on this. Quality's good so far, like I said. And that's kind of my final thoughts after just the initial swatches. I'm pretty happy so far. If that changes, I will let you guys know after I try them on the eyes. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you are like me and you love purple eyeshadows, I am going to also be filming a video which is showing you all of my purple palettes, like what you'd classify as a purple palette. I have quite a few in my collection that are like majority purple shades, and I just wanted to show them on camera and kind of compare them in case you are in the market for a purple palette and you're not sure which one to get. I can kind of give you my thoughts on that, on which one I think would be the best addition to your collection, and kind of like just show you the differences between the ones that I personally own. Some of them aren't still available, some of them are discontinued, but I just thought it'd be fun kind of to show you guys all the purple palettes I have in my collection, because that is the biggest, other than neutrals, that's like the biggest group of color story, like similar color stories that I have in my collection. So stay tuned for that video if you are into that, and if not, I will see you guys in the next video. I post videos every single day, so there will be one tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you see that next video come up in your feed. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.